Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new chapter of Nanatsu no Taizai, which is on chapter 243. Took a very long time for it to be translated, especially when it came to Tuesday, but I still should not complain too much because they still doing their job to give us good translations, etc. So I don't even know why I should complain, but I still appreciate the fact that I'm grateful that you're still doing them. That's all I can say. Aside from that, let's just get this started. We have to it that Meliodas does say that today the 7 deadly sins shall be disbanded. Bond, on the other hand, screams, "Do you have any idea what the hell you're saying? Come on, tell me something." And even Diane says, "You can't be serious, right?" And Merlin asks, "Are you sure this is the only method to save Elizabeth?" Even Elizabeth goes like, "You can't really mean that." And Meliodas cuts her off and says, "I myself shall become the Demon King." And all the 7 deadly sins can only look on in terror, especially Merlin herself. Hawk, on the other hand, eats a transformation and goes up to Meliodas and going, "What the f is wrong with you? You a Demon King? F that, dude. Listen to what you're saying. You are the captain of the strongest knights of this land, the 7 deadly sins, and the owner of the worst inn serving the worst food anywhere, the Boar's Hat. You can't just say, 'Oh, I'm disbanding you guys because I want to become the Demon King.'" And Meliodas therefore tells Hawk, "You think I hadn't noticed that I hadn't realized any time soon?" And grabs Hawk by the mouth and looks him in the eye and says, "It must have been great joy watching us suffer over the years, hasn't it, you Demon King?" And later on, Merlin and Hawk goes like, "What are you talking about?" And then Meliodas just throws Hawk back to Bond, and he therefore tells the other sins, tell this to Gotha for me as well. The days I spent with you weren't actually all bad. I'm thinking on mine, you are not the Meliodas we know." Elizabeth, on the other hand, tries to tell Meliodas, "You can't just make a decision for my sake." And Meliodas ignores her and says, "Let's go, Chandler." And then freaking Chandler's like, "Woohoo! Okay, let's go, young master!" and flies away with him. And the 7 deadly sins can only look on in awe and in agony. While they're cleaning up the Boar's Hat, etc., King slams his fist on the table and injures it because he's physically weak, and says, "What the hell is wrong with him?" And then Merlin's like, well, it's the way how he's thinking. He's still suffering the effects of the emotions stolen from him from the Demon King himself. And Hawk mentions that he called me a Demon King. Maybe called him a Demon King. And King's like, "Are you sure you weren't imagining it?" But Hawk continues on by saying in his echo, "Maybe my strength is Demon King class." But Merlin decides to look at Hawk and says, "Hey, can I look at you real quick?" And looks into his eyes and realizes that Hawk is connected to the purgatory, which is something that we don't understand why. But Merlin explains that she may have an idea, but she does not know what's going on. But she does know that the Demon King has been watching over the captain by using Hawk's eyes, as he is connected to the purgatory, to watch over the captain. Right now, Diane thinks of an idea and says, "Okay, how about we travel through the purgatory with Hawk, and we can get back the captain's emotions from the Demon King, no?" And then Escanor says, "Hey, that's a good idea." And King pats Diane and says, "Hey, good job, Diane, good thinking." But Merlin says, "That's not going to work, and that's impossible." They go like, "What are you talking about?" And therefore, Merlin explains that the captain is an exception to go to the purgatory because he is cursed. Apart from him, there's only one person that's ever gone to the purgatory and made it back alive. Of course, Diane asked who there was one person, right? And of course, we get a revelation that it was actually Merlin's father that actually went through research to get into the purgatory. But he stepped foot inside just for 1 minute, and he's been reduced to a freaking invalid somehow, or he's turned into an old man, and etc. Even right now, everyone's like, "You can't be serious, right?" Of course, it only became a minute. Just entering the minute in the purgatory, you turned into an old man, which Merlin explains of what happened to our father. But after that, he ends up muttering on incoherently about the purgatory, like saying, that place. And we don't really know what that place is, but it could be somewhere where Meliodas' emotions are at, especially if the Demon King has them. But we also get to know that when Merlin's father went into the purgatory, we get to know that that what's in the purgatory is scorching heat, blistering cold, and deadly toxic. It destroys all flesh of the living, and space-time itself is so different right now that, you know what, 1 minute is like could change that into a year. Surprisingly, I'm thinking in my mind. So you're saying he stood in there in 1 minute, and then he changed into an old man, which came out to be a year? It's really surprising. Not only that, like the souls of the dead are everywhere, and it's like hell in there. So pretty much the only thing you can rely on is your sixth sense, and it's run by nothing more than mutilated souls of lost predatory monsters seeking their prey. And Merlin also explains that in a hell like that, there's no way how we're gonna find the captain's emotions like that. And at least to remind you that the emotions are held by the Demon King himself. And we're up against a powerful evil, or just a terrible evil that's beyond our imaginations. And all this information about the purgatory, how like Merlin's father just came back 1 minute, he turned to a frail old man. And not only that, we get to know that 1 minute could change that into that of a year. So time in there is really twisted and different, you know? And after getting this information, Diane and Escanor is like, oh man, you can't be serious. We can't just give up. And we have to it that Bond volunteers that I'll go. And they go like, what? You're gonna do this? And Bond's like, I'm immortal. I'm the only one that should be able to go, right? And then Merlin's like, do you have any idea what the hell I just said to you? You may be immortal, but your soul is still any of that of a human. Even if you go, there's no guarantee you'll find the captain's emotions. And even if you do and be able to reclaim them, there's no way in hell that you might make it back here. And the best result I could think of is that you'll just end up passing in the dead. You'll be just in the march of the dead, passing on. Even Bond, who sweats from this information after Merlin tells him this, goes like, maybe so, but I still want to go. But King says, look, it's as Merlin says, even if you go, what would happen to you? What would happen to Elaine, huh? And Diane's like, Bond, let's just think of another way how to do this together, okay? But Bond suggests he wants to do this alone as a lone wolf or a lone fox, if anything, by saying, look, just let me do this for the best friend that made my life living after Elaine was gone, okay? And let me just save him with my own hands. If I can't do that, I can't protect the woman I'm head over heels for in the first place, can I, huh? And therefore, Bond tells King, I leave Elaine in your hands. After all, she's your sister. And King really wants to tell Bond maybe he's an idiot for doing such a thing, but Merlin, on the other hand, calls him an idiot too, but says, well, there's no other options. I mean, sis Elizabeth only does not have much time until her curse activates, and she will die of a natural cause. And therefore, chants a spell to like put Bond in the purgatory. And we have to it that Hawk tells Bond, look, you better come back alive, okay? Without you, I can't eat any more delicious scraps without you. I'm thinking in my mind, dang, Hawk, you could at least say, without you, it can never be much fun, and I'll never eat delicious scraps anymore. At least add a little bit to that, but Hawk's Hawk. Anyway. And of course, Bond says, hey, don't worry, I'll be back, okay? And Hawk ends up crying for Bond, but Bond disappears as he enters the purgatory already, thanks to Merlin's magic. And therefore, Bond is falling down and realizes that he's in the purgatory already, and he therefore announces, wait for me, Captain, I'm gonna rescue you. And we have to it that Bond begins his trial to save Meliodas. So we need to factor a couple things here. the purgatory is possibly way worse than is just hell, possibly hell. If you enter it for just a minute, just like Merlin's father did, you would just age rapidly and would mutter, that place, that place, that place. So, yeah. Aside from the purgatory information, Meliodas disbands the 7 deadly sins, goes to become Demon King, and plans to save Elizabeth. Unless there was another way, yeah. But Elizabeth's curse is about to possibly activate soon, because I'm pretty sure it's been more than just 2 days. I'm pretty sure it's been 2 days past already, aside from that. So, in the cases of what's to come, or what's going to be right now, is that Hawk is also connected to the purgatory. Although Merlin says she has an idea, we don't know how he is really connected to the purgatory. Guess we'll have to find out later in the future, and that will be revealed later, possibly. So Hawk does have an important role to play in the 7 deadly sins, despite being somewhat useful in a certain way and causing some other mischief. We have also see to it that he's connected to purgatory, as reminded. Not only that, Bond can finally make some use of himself, despite him not being so useful many chapters back. And not only that, he's immortal. He is able to enter the purgatory and won't have any trouble, but his soul is still the same. So the worst case scenario should come is that he does not come back alive or something. Because even though his body and everything else is immortal, his soul is still intact to not be immortal. So looks like to me this is going to be a difficult trial for him, but I believe he's the only one that could save Meliodas or get his emotions back to the Meliodas that we all used to know. Because anyone else who would enter the purgatory, they'll be dead in like just 1 minute or two. Because what Merlin said, her father entered the purgatory for just a minute, and he grown up to be an old frail man. Bond is immortal, and he won't age. But if he could still die at the same way that a human can, then there's a highly chance of possibility. Not to mention, even though his body's immortal, like I said, his soul is still human. We get a reminder of that from Merlin. But this is Bond's trial, and possibly he could power up. Who knows? But we'll have to find out, because Merlin did say that the time in the purgatory is totally hellish in there. Like a minute could equal to that of a year, or possibly higher. So we'll have to find out from here. Hopefully Bond passes his trial and becomes possibly something big and new and brand new to become worthy and useful to the 7 deadly sins. I mean, all of us pretty much felt very sorry for Bond because he was not being useful as much. But this is his chance to save his best friend and to come in handy for once, because he is immortal. But all you guys will remind me as usual and say, let's not forget that his soul is still human. Worst case scenario, he passes on. But Bond will still do it anyway, and I very am grateful for that. That is really true friendship right there. Willing to go even though the chances of him of dying is high, but wants to save his best friend that gave life to him after Elaine died, etc. That's really good friendship right there. I really wish there were good friends like that back in this world, but aside from me rambling on like an idiot, we all wish Bond the best of luck, even though I think we may know what the predicted outcome will be. I still am grateful to see him like putting his life on the line to save a friend no matter what. So until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. So I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye.